Let me ask you something. Have you ever laid in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, and wondered, am I doing everything I can to protect the people I love the most? Not in a dramatic way, just in those quiet moments, when the house is still, and your mind begins to drift to the faces of your parents, or maybe your grandparents, or even yourself, as the years go by. Now, think about this, something as ordinary, as routine, as innocent as bedtime. Something we all do, every single night. What if I told you that hidden inside these everyday habits could be silent dangers, quietly working against us when we least expect it? You see, most people think, it's just sleep, lay down, close your eyes, and that's it. But it's not that simple. Especially not when we get older. Because as the body ages, it becomes more sensitive, more vulnerable to the things we once brushed off as small and unimportant. Now, imagine this. You or someone you love, maybe a sweet 73-year-old grandmother, peacefully dozing off, believing all is well. But because of one simple, avoidable habit, a habit that seemed harmless, things take a tragic turn in the middle of the night. It's chilling to think about, isn't it? But it's also the reality we need to face with open eyes and open hearts. And that's why this matters so deeply. This isn't just about sleep. No. This is about safeguarding the precious years we've earned. It's about making sure our parents, our grandparents, ourselves, spend our golden years not just alive, but well, safe, and truly at peace. Because the truth is, these risks don't always come with a warning sign. They don't shout or wave a red flag. But if you know what to look for, if you understand the small things, the tiny choices before bedtime, you can make a massive difference. And that's exactly why you need to stick with me. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 bedtime habits that could be quietly putting seniors at risk, and I'll show you simple, practical ways to avoid them. And trust me, you really want to hear about number 5. Because it's something almost everyone overlooks, something that seems harmless, even comforting, but it could be the most dangerous habit of them all. So before we dive in, let's do something important. Let's build our community of care. If you believe in protecting your loved ones in their golden years, type "I'm here" in the comments right now. I'd love to know you're with me on this. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to Elder Mature Moments for more life-saving insights like this one. Together, we can make every year count, for those we love, and for ourselves. Now, let's start with the first habit. It's one that's so common, yet so quietly risky, and that is, heavy late-night meals. Picture this with me. Mr. James. A lively 74-year-old retiree. Every evening, like clockwork, he treats himself to a generous, hearty dinner. Plates piled high, rich sauces, maybe even dessert afterward. He believes it helps him relax, fill his belly, and drift off into a good night's sleep. And to him, it makes sense. After all, eating well feels comforting, almost like a reward for the day. But what Mr. James didn't realize was that his body, his aging body, wasn't processing those meals the way it used to. You see, as we age, our metabolism naturally slows down. The digestive system doesn't fire on all cylinders like it did in our younger years. Food stays longer in the stomach, digestion becomes sluggish, and that heavy meal, especially late at night, turns into a burden while we sleep. And here's the thing most people don't realize. Lying down after a big meal increases the risk of acid reflux, and not just the mild discomfort kind. I'm talking about the kind that can cause choking episodes in sleep, disturb the heart rhythm, and even interfere with breathing. It gets even more concerning. Large, heavy meals demand more blood flow to the stomach to aid digestion. This means less blood is available for other crucial functions while you sleep, like maintaining a steady heart rate and keeping the brain oxygenated. Now, here's a big misconception. A lot of people believe that feeling full helps them sleep deeper. But this isn't true. What actually happens is your body works overtime to digest that big meal, and instead of resting, your system stays alert, quietly struggling through the night. This leads to poor quality sleep, restlessness, and even more fatigue the next day. So what can we do instead? The good news is, this is an easy fix. Instead of heavy meals late in the evening, aim for something lighter and gentler on the stomach, about 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Think warm soups, a small serving of yogurt, soft fruits like bananas, or even some oatmeal. These options are comforting, they digest well, and they won't overload the system when it's time to rest. Just this one small change can ease digestion, improve sleep quality, and reduce the hidden risks that come with nighttime discomfort. But food isn't the only silent culprit in our bedtime routine. There's something else, something almost all of us rely on every single day. Medications. And how we time them, especially in our later years, can make a world of difference. Let's talk about that next. Now, let's talk about something even more crucial, medications. More specifically, when we take them. Let me tell you about Mrs. Helen. She's 76, full of wisdom, and always careful about her health. Her doctor prescribed medication for her blood pressure, and like many people, she had the best of intentions. But her routine? Well, it wasn't exactly routine. She'd often take her pills right before bedtime. Not because anyone advised her to, but simply because, in her words, it's easier to remember at night, just before I go to sleep. Sounds harmless, doesn't it? But here's the problem, our bodies, especially as we age, respond very differently to medication depending on the time of day. And this small detail, this simple decision of when to take the medicine, can make the difference between a peaceful night's sleep and a dangerous situation while we rest. You see, certain medications, like blood pressure tablets, or medications that control blood sugar, can continue working while you're asleep. And for older adults, the body's natural regulation slows down at night. So, if Mrs. Helen takes her blood pressure medicine right before bed, it may lower her blood pressure too much while she sleeps. Now, under normal circumstances, your body would adjust. But in older age, this adjustment becomes much harder. The risk of hypotension. Dangerously low blood pressure increases, which can lead to dizziness upon waking, fainting, or worse, silent cardiac stress during the night. It doesn't end there. If the medication is for diabetes, taking it at the wrong time might cause what we call nocturnal hypoglycemia, low blood sugar while you sleep. And because it happens quietly, often without any obvious signs, it's especially dangerous. Here's where it gets even more concerning. There's a common belief out there, and it's very understandable, that as long as you take your medication daily, the timing doesn't matter. But the truth is, medication timing isn't just about convenience. It's about aligning with the body's natural rhythms to avoid peaks and dangerous dips. And I get it, truly. When we're managing several medications, it feels overwhelming to keep track of the perfect schedule. But this small effort, just a small adjustment, can prevent a long list of complications. So what's the practical takeaway here? The very best thing you can do is to have a conversation with your healthcare provider or pharmacist. Ask them, when is the safest, most effective time to take this medication? Many medications, particularly those for blood pressure or cholesterol, are actually recommended to be taken in the morning, when the body's natural blood pressure is higher, and when the medication can work with, not against, your body's rhythm. Even just spacing medications evenly throughout the day, rather than stacking them at bedtime, can make a big difference. Remember, medications are meant to help us, not accidentally harm us. Timing them properly ensures they work at their best, while keeping you safe, especially during those quiet, vulnerable hours of sleep. Now, while medication timing is something we often overlook, there's another bedtime habit that many people see as a harmless way to unwind at the end of the day. But, and I need you to hear this, it might actually be doing far more harm than good. Let's talk about it next. Now, let's move to another bedtime habit that, at first glance, feels completely innocent, even comforting. In fact, many people see it as part of their nightly ritual. I'm talking about evening alcohol consumption. Picture Mr. Richard. A charming man, 72 years old, who enjoys the simple pleasures of life. Every evening, just as the sun begins to set and the house grows quiet, he pours himself a glass of wine. He settles into his favorite chair by the window, sips slowly, and feels the tension of the day melt away. For him, it's a way to relax, a little moment of calm before bed. He believes, like many do, that it helps him drift off to sleep more easily. But what Mr. Richard didn't realize, and what so many of us overlook, is what's happening inside the body once that alcohol takes effect. Yes, at first, alcohol acts like a sedative. It makes you feel drowsy, maybe even a little heavy-eyed, and that can trick you into thinking it's helping you sleep better. But that's only the beginning of the story. Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Alcohol changes your sleep architecture, the natural stages of sleep your body cycles through every night. While it might help you fall asleep faster, it also causes your sleep to become lighter and more fragmented as the night goes on. You wake up more frequently, even if you don't always remember it. Your body struggles to enter the deeper, restorative stages of sleep, the kind of sleep that repairs cells, balances hormones, and keeps your heart healthy. And that's not all. Alcohol relaxes the muscles in your throat, increasing the risk of sleep-disordered breathing, like snoring or even sleep apnea. For seniors, this can be especially dangerous because it affects oxygen levels during the night, placing extra strain on the heart and brain when the body should be resting and recovering. And let's not forget the balance risks. What most people don't realize is that alcohol, even in modest amounts, can impact coordination. It increases the chances of nighttime falls, a frightening reality for older adults, where a single fall can lead to life-changing injuries. Now, I understand why this misconception exists. It's a common belief that alcohol helps you sleep better. After all, it makes you feel relaxed, drowsy, even warm inside. But that's just a temporary feeling. Once the alcohol is metabolized, it disrupts your sleep, dehydrates the body, and triggers wakefulness during the second half of the night. So, what's the practical advice here? If alcohol is part of your routine, it's important to enjoy it wisely. Consider having that glass earlier in the evening, ideally with food, and always in moderation. Giving your body time to metabolize the alcohol before bedtime can reduce its disruptive effects on your sleep. And of course, staying hydrated alongside can help counter some of alcohol's dehydrating effects. Remember, it's not about eliminating life's little pleasures, it's about enjoying them safely, with awareness and care. Now, speaking of hydration, this brings us perfectly to the next habit, one that often goes completely unnoticed. You see, while many worry about drinking too much before bed, too often, we forget the risks of drinking too little. Now, let's talk about something that slips under the radar for so many people. It seems so small, so ordinary, yet it carries risks that too often go unnoticed until it's too late. I'm talking about skipping nighttime hydration. Let me tell you about Mrs. Gloria. She's 75, kind-hearted, always looking after others, and like many, she tried to be practical about her bedtime routine. She avoided drinking water in the evening because she didn't want to wake up during the night for those inconvenient trips to the bathroom. Her fear of nocturia, that constant need to get up and go, led her to believe it was better to just stop drinking water altogether after dinner. It sounds reasonable, doesn't it? After all, no one enjoys being jolted awake in the middle of the night to stumble to the bathroom, especially when balance becomes more fragile with age. Mrs. Gloria thought she was avoiding a nuisance. What she didn't realize was that, over time, this habit led to something far more serious: dehydration. Now, let's unpack this. As we age, our body's natural thirst response diminishes. In simple terms, older adults don't feel thirsty as easily or as strongly as younger people do. This means that even when the body needs water, the signals aren't as clear or urgent. Without realizing it, seniors like Mrs. Gloria can become quietly, dangerously dehydrated. And dehydration doesn't just mean feeling a little dry-mouthed. When the body lacks enough water, the blood becomes thicker, which places extra strain on the heart. This thicker blood is slower to circulate, and that sluggish flow increases the risk of blood clots, which, as you can imagine, raises the chance of a stroke or heart attack, particularly during the night when the body is already at rest. On top of that, dehydration can lower blood pressure to unstable levels, cause confusion upon waking, and even increase the risk of nighttime falls due to dizziness. Yet, there's a big misconception here, and it's a common one. Many people believe, if I avoid water at night, I won't have to wake up to use the bathroom. But the reality is, completely cutting off water before bed isn't the solution, it just shifts the problem from minor inconvenience to serious health risk. So, what's the safer approach? Rather than skipping water entirely, the goal is balance. Encourage small, gentle sips of water before bed, not a full glass, just a few mouthfuls to keep the body hydrated without overwhelming the bladder. But even more importantly, focus on consistent hydration throughout the day. Keeping the body well hydrated from morning until evening reduces the need for heavy hydration right before sleep. And if frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom are already a concern, it's worth having a conversation with a healthcare provider. Sometimes, the issue isn't the water intake itself, but underlying conditions that need attention. Remember, our bodies are mostly water. Water nourishes every cell, supports healthy circulation, and keeps our vital systems running smoothly, even, and especially, while we sleep. So, by staying mindfully hydrated, you're not just quenching thirst. You're protecting the heart, safeguarding the brain, and giving your body the gentle care it deserves through the night. But hydration isn't the only quiet player in the background of our bedtime health. There's still one more habit, perhaps the most overlooked of them all. It's not about what we eat or drink, but about something much simpler, and yet, so critical. It's about the way we position our bodies when we sleep. Let's explore that next. Now, let's talk about a bedtime habit that often goes completely unnoticed. It's not about what we eat or drink, it's about something far simpler, but just as crucial. It's about how we position our bodies during sleep. Let me paint a picture for you. Mr. Samuel, he's 78. A proud grandfather, a man of quiet wisdom, and someone who's lived a full, meaningful life. Every night, he stretches out on his bed, lies flat on his back, and drifts off to sleep. It feels natural to him. Comfortable. Like he's letting the weight of the day melt away. For years, he never thought twice about it. But what Mr. Samuel didn't know, and what so many people don't realize, is that the way we position our bodies as we sleep isn't just a matter of comfort. For older adults, especially those with breathing challenges or heart conditions, it can silently affect the quality of rest, the ease of breathing, and even the flow of oxygen through the body during those critical nighttime hours. You see, when you lie flat on your back, gravity isn't your friend. The tongue and soft tissues in the throat naturally fall backward, narrowing the airway. For younger, healthier lungs and muscles, this might not be a big issue. But for seniors, where lung capacity has decreased and muscle tone is weaker, this narrowing can lead to shallow breathing, reduced oxygen levels, and disturbances in the flow of air to the lungs. And there's more. Sleeping flat can worsen conditions like sleep apnea, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts throughout the night. These pauses in breathing, even if brief, strain the heart, deprive the brain of oxygen, and lead to fragmented sleep, leaving the person feeling exhausted the next day, even if they thought they slept through the night. Now, here's where the misconception sneaks in. Most people assume, if it feels comfortable, it must be safe. And to be fair, that sounds logical. But comfort and safety aren't always the same thing, especially as we age. A position that feels familiar and cozy might quietly be working against the body's natural needs. So, what's the gentle, caring solution? One of the best ways to support healthy breathing during sleep is to encourage side sleeping, especially on the left side, which can promote better circulation and lung function. A well-placed pillow between the knees and a supportive pillow under the head can make this position both comfortable and beneficial. Alternatively, slightly elevating the head with an extra pillow or an adjustable bed can help reduce pressure on the airway, making it easier to breathe deeply and naturally through the night. It's a small adjustment, truly. But this simple change in posture can lead to remarkable improvements in sleep quality, oxygen levels, and overall comfort. And here's something beautiful to remember: better sleep posture doesn't just protect health, it brings peace of mind. Knowing your loved one is resting safely, breathing comfortably, and giving their body the best chance to recover and rejuvenate each night is a gift, both to them and to you. Now that we've covered these vital habits, these quiet risks that hide in the routine of bedtime, let's take a moment to reflect. Because understanding these habits isn't just about prevention, it's about the emotional journey that families go through as they care for their loved ones in their golden years. Let's talk about that next. As we've gone through these quiet, hidden bedtime dangers together, I imagine there might be a heavy feeling in your chest right now. Maybe you're thinking about your mother, or your father. Your grandmother, perhaps. Maybe even yourself. It's hard not to. Because watching the people we love slip into these habits, unaware of the risks, unaware of how even small routines can quietly work against them, it can feel deeply troubling. It can feel like we're standing at the edge of a river, watching them drift a little further out each night, knowing that the current is stronger than it seems, but unsure how to call them back to shore. And it's natural, so natural, to feel overwhelmed in moments like this. You care deeply. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening so closely, absorbing every word, hoping to find even one thing that could make a difference. And I want you to know something, from the bottom of my heart, you already have. Today, you've taken a powerful step forward. A step away from silent worry, and a step into quiet wisdom. You're no longer in the dark about these risks. You're holding a light, one that can gently guide your loved ones toward safer, more peaceful nights. It's not about making big, dramatic changes overnight. It's about small, thoughtful conversations. It's about sitting down, maybe this very evening, with the person you care about and saying, "Hey, let's try something a little different tonight." Just a small change. Because those small adjustments, they have the power to create big, life-changing results. A better sleeping position. A little hydration before bed. Taking medications at safer times. All of these small acts add up, like stitches in a warm, protective blanket that wraps around your loved one every night. And here's the most important part I want you to carry with you: aging gracefully is not about fear. It's not about living in anxiety over every detail. It's about living in awareness. It's about living in love. When we understand the risks, we remove the fear. When we take mindful action, we replace helplessness with hope. Together, we can build nights that are not filled with silent dangers, but filled with safety, comfort, and peace for those we cherish most. So hold on to this hope. Let it warm your heart tonight, as you think about the steps you can take. Because you are not powerless. You are prepared. And you are exactly what your loved one needs: a guiding hand, a caring heart, and a voice of gentle wisdom. Now, let's carry this strength forward, and I'll show you how we can take everything we've learned today and put it into action, together. Now, before we close, let's take a quiet moment to bring it all together. Because we've covered a lot today, and every single piece matters. Let's quickly recap, so it stays fresh in your mind. The 5 bedtime habits to avoid after 70 are: first, heavy late-night meals. They place extra strain on digestion and the heart when the body should be resting. Second, irregular medication timing. Taking medications at the wrong time, especially before bed, can quietly cause dangerous dips in blood pressure or blood sugar while we sleep. Third, evening alcohol consumption. It may feel like it helps you relax, but it disrupts sleep patterns, breathing, and increases the risk of falls. Fourth, skipping nighttime hydration. Avoiding water to prevent bathroom trips can lead to silent dehydration, thickened blood, and greater stroke risk overnight. And finally, poor sleeping posture. Lying flat on the back might feel comfortable, but it can compromise breathing and reduce oxygen flow, especially in aging bodies. These are small habits, aren't they? Little choices we make without thinking twice. But as you've seen, they carry weight. They matter. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Really, I would. Which of these habits surprised you the most? Was it something you've seen in a loved one? Maybe it's something you've caught yourself doing without realizing the risks. Take a moment, scroll down, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone else, and together, we can grow a community of care right here. You see, that's what Elder Mature Moments is all about. We're building more than just a channel. We're building a family of people who care deeply about our elders, who want to make their later years safe, comfortable, and full of dignity. So, if you found value in today's conversation, if it opened your eyes, or your heart, please give this video a like. It lets me know this message reached you. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to Elder Mature Moments. Here, you'll find more compassionate advice, practical tips, and heartfelt conversations, all focused on elderly care, health, and the moments that truly matter. Now, before we part ways, I want to thank you. Truly. Thank you for spending these precious moments with me today. Your time here is not just time spent, it's time invested in the well-being of the people you love most. So stay strong. Stay informed. And stay connected to this beautiful mission of caring for those who cared for us. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take gentle care of yourself and of those you hold close to your heart.